Yes, we're going to call this third time lucky because we'd hoped to have Stan Bowman with us. I think it was American Thanksgiving.
That's right.
And you realized the only way for you to be with your family was to take the red eye home that night.
That's right.
We had hoped again to have you with us 2 weeks ago tonight, which would have been a day after the trade deadline, but food poisoning got you. So 2 questions. How are you feeling tonight? And is there anywhere else you need to be?
I'm feeling much better. Yeah, that was a rough 24, 36 hours, but we got through it, and I'm happy to be here.
Food poisoning, it wasn't just you. It was the entire scouting staff.
Bad timing.
Yeah.
Bad timing for it.
We had probably, I don't know, at least 8 or 10 of our people come down with it. I actually thought I escaped it because they all got sick before I did. So we got to about bedtime Friday night, and I'm like, wow, I got lucky. And then middle of the night, it hit me, and I was down for the count.
Okay, we're delighted to have you with us tonight, and we have to start, obviously, with what's number one on the minds of Oiler fans, and that's the health of your 2 superstars. Louie.
Yes, obviously some concern in the city with both Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl going out with injuries at the same time, the first time that it's ever happened in their career. Here's McDavid's injury against Winnipeg. I don't know if you can give us a status update on it or what you've heard of how long it's going to be, or how concerned are you about these injuries?
Well, thankfully, they're not serious injuries, so... as far as the exact timeline, we don't know that, but it's not going to be a long time. So not concerned. I think you always want them back in the lineup, and you want them there every night. But, missing a little bit of time at this time of year probably isn't the worst thing. So I think Leon will probably be back before Connor, but I don't think he'll be too much after that.
All right, let's have a look at what happened to Leon when he got tangled up with the defender on Tuesday night, Utah. Still, though, finished the game. He played over 23 minutes.
Right.
22 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. It was kind of a funny play there. But as you can see, it wasn't anything severe. It's not a real big injury. But both those players have been fun for me to watch this year. It's, having a chance to watch them on TV all those years, but to get to see them up close every day, it's been a real treat. There's nobody like them I've seen, and they lead our team in many, many ways.
Well, I like what you said there. If there's ever 2 guys that maybe need a little bit of time off right now, these 2 guys could be. You don't want it to come in the form of an injury, but their body of work this year has been incredible. And especially Leon. I mean, he is having one of those seasons that you talk about every day because he's doing a lot of different things, not just offensively, but defensively as well.
Yeah, his two-way game is really probably overlooked a little bit, the way that he back checks. He's been really strong on the puck, and I think the thing I've noticed the most about him is, you think of Leon as a great passer. I mean, he's probably the best backhand passer, I think, in the league, but he's leading the league in goals by a wide margin. So he does it all. He can score goals, make plays, two-way player. So yeah, he's been outstanding all year. And then, Connor, I don't have to give too many superlatives to him. I think everyone knows how amazing he is, and he didn't get a break at the Four Nations, and he led Canada to the victory. So he's one of those players that in the big moments, you saw that in overtime, to be able to, get the puck and put it in the net in that pressure moment. Like, maybe it looks easy when you're watching him, but it's not that easy to get that puck and in one motion, put it in the perfect spot for the winning goal.
Just to clarify on Connor McDavid's injury and what you know about it, is there any chance that we don't see him again in the regular season and he's held out for the playoffs?
No, I don't think so. Okay. Not the information we have now. We don't think so.
All right, back to Leon. He's the leading Hart Trophy candidate. It's hard to imagine with all he's done in his career that he could have a career season, but here he is. And one of your first tasks as general manager was to extend him, to get his name on a new contract, and you did that. Most people would think, when a player's that good, you just give him what he wants. Was the negotiation, the deal, in any way hard to make?
It takes some time, I think, to get into the negotiation. It wasn't like an immediate thing, but that was like the first call I made was to Mike Liu to let him know that this was number one priority for me, was to get him signed. And you don't find players like Leon Draisaitl. If you don't have them, you can't get them, and if you do have them, you have to keep them. So it's been great getting to know him too. He's he's a real competitive guy, great teammate, like real fun to be around. I've enjoyed getting to know him, and he's incredibly passionate about winning and about doing everything it takes to be the leader on the team. So I've enjoyed getting to know him, and I'm excited he's going to be here for a long time.
Speaking of giving a player whatever he wants, Connor McDavid is eligible for an extension on July the 1st. Louie.
So that priority number 1 goes by the wayside now. Priority number one is getting Connor signed to a new deal. Any updates on that? I know he hasn't really wanted to approach it all year long, rightfully so. He wants to just play. He knows it'll get done. He knows that he's going to, obviously have a negotiation. But how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, well, we have a great relationship with Judd Moldaver, his agent. I've known Judd for a long time, and he does a great job for his clients. And I'm getting to know Connor really well, too. And everything I just said about Leon, you can probably repeat that for Connor. He's an incredible leader, incredible person, just, a great teammate. He loves to cheer for the guys and pump everybody up and be very supportive as a leader. So, of course, I mean, he's the most important player we have here. So that is priority number one. And we'll get to that this summer. Now is probably not the time to really be talking about that, but we all know that Connor's going to be here, and we're going to make it happen.
Well, we'll leave it at this. If he's not signed by July the 2nd, speculation is going to run rampant. Are you ready for that should negotiations take longer than you'd like?
Yeah, we'll have to get going with Judd, and I'll have to get going on that on time there, but I'm confident we will.
The season to date, Louie.
Yeah, listen, started off a little bit slow at the start of the year, 3 losses, but then you guys went on a long roll where you played similarly to how you did last year, where you were one of the best teams in the league. But then after the 4 Nations, and I would even say building up to the 4 Nations, they started to it looked to get fatigued a bit, carried over, and you started to lose some games. You lost 6 of 7 in a row. How concerned were you with that?
Well, yeah, we were concerned, but nothing that would put us in a state of panic. I think you're right. We did have a slow start. I thought the whole month of October was a little bit stop and start. Once we got into November, I thought we really got our feet under us, and I think we had a great run until the end of January. I thought we were very consistent with our game. We controlled the games. We won most of them. And then, right around the beginning of February, before the break, we started to slide. We won a couple games that we really didn't play well in, and then we struggled in that last game going into the break, and then we really struggled coming out of the break. So I think at the end of that road trip, we lost to Florida, but we played a pretty good game, and then we won in Carolina, and I think that really kind of got our season back to where we wanted it to be. We still have had some hits and misses since then, but I think overall we've been much better the last probably 5 or 6 games. I
was going to say, right up until Draisaitl's injuries and McDavid's injuries, I thought it was the most connected the team's been in quite a while.
Right.
It doesn't go without saying that you just mentioned it earlier. Connor and Leon and this nucleus and this group of players understand how to ratchet it up at the right time.
Yeah, you could see that actually. It was almost like, I don't know how to explain it other than when you're around the team a lot, there was maybe a little bit more purpose to some of those games. It wasn't just kind of going through and taking what comes your way. It was maybe impacting and forcing your will on the other team a little bit more, and I think that's what we need to do.
So now we get to trade deadline. Jake Wallman cost you a first-round draft pick, and early returns suggest he's worth it, Louie.
Yeah, I mean, I think a terrific pickup, actually. And, I know obviously you wanted to bolster the back end. You also wanted to get a little bigger up front, what you did with Frederick and Jones. But Jake Wallman, what have you seen so far in his tenure with Edmonton? I mean, it's not easy jumping into the situation he has, but playing the right side, playing the left side, obviously a big reason why you went and acquired him is because he could play both sides.
Yeah, I've been very happy with Jake. I think he's still getting adjusted to us, but he had a great first game right out of the gate against Dallas. He made a nice play. He had a big hit. I think the biggest thing I noticed with him is his skating and his ability to close plays off and to get up the ice. He's got a lot of comfort at the offensive blue line. He can shake and bake guys and get off the blue line and get shots to the net. He's not afraid to shoot it. He had a couple one-timers tonight. I think that's something we've been talking about. We don't shoot the puck a lot from the point. We always want to try to find that next play, and I think it's nice that he's willing to put the puck on the net with regularity. So I think the early returns are great. He's helped us on the penalty kill. He's been playing about 21, 22 minutes a night. And I think he's able to help us on the power play, too, if we need that. He got a little bit of opportunity now. He hasn't really done that yet, but we know so he's a pretty versatile player. And I think, in the playoffs, you're going to need someone that can, used in a lot of situations, 5-on-5 and both special teams. So I think we're really excited.
So Wallman, sorry, Lou, but so Wallman and Max Jones, and then before that, Trent Frederick from Boston. Of course, he comes to you with an ankle injury.
Right.
When do you expect him to be in your lineup?
Yeah, he's probably another, I would say, 10 to 14 days away. You know, we're hoping he'll be back. He's skating now, which is great.
He's going to bring some grit, right?
Yeah, we really like Freddie's game. I think, you know, watching him, he's another player, when you hear this word a lot, is versatility. Like, he's played a lot of center.
You're going to like that about him.
Yeah,
he doesn't shut up out there.
He's a competitive guy. He really gets the guys going with his approach to the game. You know, I've been a fan of his going back to when he was at the U.S. program. I scouted that team a lot that year, and you know, I think some people were surprised he ended up being a first-round pick because maybe he isn't the biggest scorer. But the last 2 years, he scored, you know, 17, 18 goals a year, really not a power play guy. So that's a lot of even-strength goals. So I think if you can come in and chip in some offense, but also be a guy that's you're gonna notice when he's on the ice, because he's a big guy first of all, but he plays a direct game and he's not afraid to get in there and make sure the other team's uncomfortable.
Speaking of grit, Louie, Evander Kane.
Addressing needs. You know, Frederick comes in, Jones comes in, Wallman. You've got another player that would be like a found player in Evander Kane, who hasn't played all season long. He's skating now again, which is a great sign.
Right.
How confident are you that he can get back and play potentially in the playoffs and be an impact player like we've seen him be in the past?
Yeah, well, you're right. I think he's another player. When you look at tonight's game in particular, and you know, we're missing Connor and Leon and Frederick and Kane, and all of a sudden you're thinking, wow, you add those to the mix. It's a lot of new players on the one hand, but also it's quite an upgrade. So Evander's, I mean, we've seen what he can do. I mean, he's had a lot of playoff success. You know, he can score a lot of goals. He can intimidate the other team with his physicality and his intensity. He's a big guy, and he can really skate and forecheck. So, yeah, you get excited thinking about that. I think he's going to be back in the playoffs. As far as certainly if we can, you know, continue our game and have some success, he's definitely going to play. Whether he'll be ready for the beginning of the playoffs, we're not sure, but we know that we're motivated to keep playing for a lot of reasons, but also so we can get Evander back in the lineup.
Stan, I'm guessing that you heard the social media general managers at the deadline screaming for you to do something with your goaltending. It remains Stuart Skinner as your 1A starter, Calvin Pickard backing up. Make your statement on your goaltending.
Yeah, our goaltending does get a lot of attention. I've kind of noticed that here since I've been in Edmonton, which I think is okay. I mean, the fans are passionate, and the goaltending position certainly gets a lot of attention because the spotlight's on it when the goal goes in. I think our goaltending probably gets too much criticism. You know, I think they've had their ups and downs. I mean, there's no question they haven't been like lights out all year, but I think they find a way to win games. I think that's the biggest thing about it. Both Stuart and Calvin have done a great job of finding a way to win, and I think there's something to be said for that. You know, statistics are certainly relevant and important, but being able to, you know, he gets to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final last year. I think that's not easy to do. I think, you know, you're in those pressure situations. I've been fortunate to be in a lot of those with my teams over the years, and it's different, you know, to be able to handle the big moment. So the fact that you know, and Stuart was great last year, and Pickard came in and won some big games for him too in the playoffs. So I think you need the guys that have that experience and the composure and the mentality to be able to fight through, because you're going to face adversity. You're going to give up goals that you shouldn't give up. So how can you respond? And I think they've both shown the ability to do that.
Quickly, let's go back to your start as GM here. You barely had time to figure out where your office was when those offer sheets from St. Louis for Broberg and Holloway were dropped on your desk. How do you look back on not matching those offers?
Yeah, well, I think they've both had good years in St. Louis, so that's got a lot of attention, saying, like, why wouldn't we have matched? But it really came down to a fundamental salary cap challenge for us. Like, we wouldn't have the team that we have now if we would have matched either one of those offers. We would have had to have gotten rid of a pretty core player. Simply the math didn't work. And I think that's what it's not like we didn't like the players or we didn't think they could be good players for us, but when you look at the salary cap, and you know, that was what we were studying, was, is there any possible way we could match either or both? And as I, you know, recounted back at the time when we decided not to, we wouldn't have been able to field a team if we matched either of those offer sheets. We would have had to have probably moved out a very important player on our team. So we just didn't have the flexibility. So I think, you know, we've pivoted pretty good. We brought in Podkolzin and Emberson, and they've both played really well for us this year. Lower price players that came in and found a role on our team. So I think we made it work, and we like where we're at.
Okay, this is the first time we had you on the show, so it's an opportunity for us to ask you about how you ended up in Edmonton. As you said, on the day you were hired, we're not here to litigate what happened in Chicago, but the fact is you were out of the game for 2.5 years. How concerned were you that you might not have got back in?
Oh, for sure I was concerned. I mean, you never know if that's going to happen, and I didn't take it for granted that I would. I spent a lot of time reflecting on that, on, my time in Chicago, as well as the ending and how things went down, and, what I would change and how I could grow from that situation. I think that's what you have to do in life, is you have to kind of look forward and say, what can I learn from this? What can I do better? And I think I tried to look inward and do that. And that's what, so in those moments, of course, you're wondering, I may never get a chance. And it's a game that I've been around a long time, and it's a game that I love, and you were hoping that you might someday get a chance, but I didn't know. And, it's strange how things happen. I through that process, I was able to make connections with Sheldon Kennedy, and, a great friendship and working relationship came out of that first conversation, and to this day, he's a great friend.
Well, Sheldon Kennedy has gone on the record as saying that if you didn't get back into the NHL, he could see you doing that kind of work for the rest of your career. Tell us about the Respect Group Charter.
Yeah, so I started with Sheldon. We talked a few times on the phone, and I had met him a long time ago when he was playing in Detroit. He didn't remember it, and I just remember saying hi to him. But when we reconnected, what we talked about was he has this respect training that is something that a lot of organizations go through. And his comment to me was, what do you think for hockey? Do you think this would do well, or do you think we should maybe amend it a little bit? And I went through the training, and I said, this is great stuff, Sheldon. I think for hockey players to really take hold, we probably need to change it a little bit. And he said, I agree. I think we're missing something. So that's where we decided to work together. And those conversations really led us to this process of developing what's called a respect charter. And a quick summary would be, hockey players are really good at following directions. Like, they've been told where to be, they've been told by their coaches what to do. And most organizations, they all have like a mantra or a slogan or a theme that they want their team to be. And it's always coming from the top down to the players, and then the players are supposed to live it. But my feedback to Sheldon was, there's nobody ever talks to the players about how they want to treat each other and how they want to interact with one another. And sort of on the heels of my departure from Chicago, I think the one thing is you want to make sure that players are in a good situation. They feel like they can be their authentic self. And I think that's the thing that going through a training session doesn't always do that, when you're just you're sitting in front of a screen and listening to someone talk to you. So the charter was something we developed. It's an active process where Sheldon and I would lead the process. We would, kind of give the team exercises to go through. But at the end of the day, they create something that they're going to. So we piloted this with some Western Hockey League teams, with some college teams, junior teams. And in the process of that, we developed something that we think is really unique. And this year, I was excited to be able to do that with our team in Bakersfield in the American League. And it's something I want to do with our team next year. So essentially, it's a process that a team goes through. And at the end of it, they've got something that they created that they're going to hold each other to, and they're going to sort of teach each other when there are breaches of conduct within the team. And I'm talking like small things. I don't mean things that are criminal matters, which you certainly still need to handle through the proper way. I'm talking the little things that happen on a team on a daily basis, which can make it hard for a player to maybe be themselves. So I think the more that we can make that change, the better the player's going to have a better experience.
Okay, we've got two important things left to cover, and one, of course, is your father, the legendary Scotty Bowman.
He took over the booth in Tampa Bay this year for us.
He did, that's right.
Interview, but great to see him. He looks amazing. Just growing up with a legendary father. Scotty, there he is talking to Gene earlier in the year. Looks awesome, by the way, like I said. But obviously had an influence on you and what you're doing now as a career.
Yeah, well, obviously. I mean, ever since I was a little kid, I just wanted to be in the game of hockey. I wasn't a very good player, so my aspirations of being an NHLer ended probably as a teenager. So, I wasn't really in the coaching mind. I knew that I didn't have that skill set. I think I was more analytical maybe and I think my dad has been, sort of at the forefront of innovation in hockey. So I learned that from him, and, being around him all the time, just listening to him talk was something that was like the favorite thing as a little kid.
Yeah.
You and your father have between you 17 Stanley Cups, and you shared 3 of those. He's got 14. You shared 3 in Chicago. You were born in June of '73, months after Scotty had coached the Canadiens to the Stanley Cup. So you are named Stanley. True or false? You went through the first 6 or 7 years of your life believing your entire name was Stanley Cup.
I did, and that was I was heartbroken when I finally found out, because it was a little joke amongst my family. Is they would say, like, ask him what his middle name is, and I was told my name was Stanley Cup, so I would proudly say it. And then one day we had to go do something for like a government documentation, and they asked me his name, and my dad said his name is Stanley Glenn, and I was like, I looked at him like, no, it's not. And then he said, actually, it is. Your name's not Cup. So I was heartbroken, but it was a funny story.
Okay, something that people might not know about you, Stan, is that you are a cancer survivor, diagnosed in '07 with Hodgkin's lymphoma when your boys were 2 and 5. Chemo sent it into remission, but it came back the next year, and you required a stem cell transplant. So here you sit 18 years later, healthy, but surely with a different outlook on life.
Yeah, I think that's probably the first thing that really changed my life was you really, I mean, it's such a cliche you hear that you take things for granted, but it's true. And I think when you come back from that, like, when I got lymphoma and everyone said Hodgkin's, that's the good cancer to get, you'll be fine. So 6 months later it comes back, and that's not supposed to happen. So then it's not so fine at that point. You have to have a transplant, and for people, who are listening who've gone through that, it's tough. It's a tough time. Like they kind of bring you to the brink of death, and they really bombard you with high levels of chemo, and you don't know if you're going to make it. Like there were some dark days there, and so when you eventually come out of that, I think you have just a different outlook on life, and you probably don't get caught up in the BS as much because you've been through some really difficult times. And you're right, my kids were really little. I have 3 children now, but my daughter wasn't even born yet. My 2 boys were very little, and you're wondering if you're ever going to be able to make it to see, when they grow up. So thankfully, we got through that, and we had some tough times. But I think, in a lot of ways, hockey got me through that. I think it was something that, kept me, I guess, excited about the future, and I was able to work through it, and I'm happy and healthy today.
20 years later, almost, and the message, I guess, would be you should never take your health for granted. Thanks for joining us, Stan. Really appreciate your time
thank
tonight.
you. Enjoyed it.
Thanks, Stan.
Stan Bowman, general manager of the Edmonton Oilers, hopes he has his team on the road to the Cup.